Hey, hello, welcome back to Karotul. My name is Atul Pandit, and let's get started. So, today's topic is what is LAN and what is WAN. So, when you learn networking, you so many times hear these words LAN and WAN. So, what is LAN? What is WAN? What is the meaning of life, right? So, let's answer at least few of these questions. Might not be able to answer all of these questions. So, let's start with the LAN, right? So local area network, LAN means local area network, which actually means that you have the devices, more than one devices connecting to each other, maybe inside a room, maybe inside an office, which may have multiple rooms, maybe inside a building, which has multiple floors, even inside a campus where you have multiple buildings. Generally, the local keyword here means earlier it used to be called like within a kilometer or something, a mile, it should be the network, but the idea is that it's a privately owned network. Means it's a single organization who owns this network, and it is not leasing other companies' lines or circuits to connect from one end to another end. That is basically what local area network means. So it is completely managed and owned by the same organization, same company. So you will see that initially they used to have the bus topology to connect multiple devices. So let's say if in your office you have 10 computers, you want to connect them. You used to generally connect it to the coaxial cable. So there used to be a coaxial cable, and it was a thick coaxial cable connecting to all the computers with the thin coaxial cable. So this thick pipe you see, that's a thick coaxial cable, and this thin pipe you see, that is a thin coaxial cable connecting to each other using T connectors, they used to call it. And it was the simplest implementation. Definitely, there were many issues with this topology, which we will talk. Don't worry, this is not the topic for explaining the bus topology, but I'm just telling you that how it started. And they used to use the terminators at both end of the cable, not the terminator from Arnold Schwarzenegger, not that one. But the terminators basically means that the electrical signals should not bounce back. So you need to terminate the signals at the end of both end of the bus topology. It was not very scalable. So of course, nowadays, if you go to an office, if you just walk to any big organization or small organization, you will see a device something like this, which is called a switch, right? So switches, as you can see, they had multiple ports, and these ports, you see all these holes. These are the ports. We call them the RJ45 ports because we connect mostly the Ethernet cable to this, the copper cable. And the switches allow you to connect multiple devices in a star topology. Star because switch is the star of the show, right? It is in the middle, in the center of everything, and all the devices connect to them. So it makes it very easy because any one device goes down, it doesn't affect the other device. But again, topologies, don't worry, we will talk about it. But I'm just saying that these are the devices mostly you will see in a LAN environment, right? Mostly they work to just exchange traffic between different computers, right? And if they don't work good, we call it switches be crazy, right? But in this case, switches are not crazy and they are very valuable devices. On the other hand, if you go for WAN, wide area network, you will see that in the WAN, what happens? Like you have a LAN, and the LAN generally connects to a device called router, and the router will connect you to somewhere very far. So that's why it is called wide, because you are connecting from a point, let's say from your office in London to another office your company have in Paris, and in Thailand, in Bangkok, or in New York City, or in Los Angeles City. So you see that when you have such huge distances, it's not possible for having a completely private network from end to end because you don't own all the land from here to there, right? So what you do is you use the or you lease the networks or you lease the connections from other companies who already have these huge networks set up by buying the expensive licenses from the countries and from the organizations, laying down the cables under the ocean. You must have heard many times, right? The internet connectivity is disturbed because the cable is cut or disturbed, or cable is damaged under the ocean. So all these things you see, these are the huge lines which we don't own, but we want to connect our offices. I just want to connect my London office to my New York office. So I actually go to a companies called the service providers, and they are providing the service of connectivity between such a huge distance. So you can see the main difference between LAN and WAN is that LAN is completely privately owned network. All the equipments, all the cables, all the connections, everything is owned by same organization. In WAN, we need to lease the circuits from other organizations. That's the main difference you will see. Other than that, of course, when we go to the details later, you will see there are many different types of WAN connections. One of them is internet, of course. You can use internet also to have the reachability from one end to another end. So that's the basic difference between LAN and WAN. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you into the next one.